Hello there, my wonderful young friends. Before we dive into today's exciting adventure, I've noticed something interesting. While many of you watch our stories every day, some haven't yet joined our storytelling family. If you enjoy these magical tales with important lessons, please tap that subscribe button and ring the bell too. It helps us create more wonderful stories just for you. Now, let's journey together to a peaceful meadow where a cunning wolf is about to hatch a tricky plan. In a lush green valley where wildflowers danced in the breeze, there lived a shepherd who cared for a flock of fluffy white sheep. Each morning, the shepherd would lead the flock to graze on the sweet grass of the rolling hills, and each evening, guide them safely back to a cozy pen beside a little stone cottage. The sheep lived peaceful lives, munching on grass, napping in the sunshine, and playing gentle games with one another. Their woolly coats grew thick and soft under the shepherd's watchful care. Not far from the valley, in the shadows of a dense forest, lived a wolf with fur as gray as storm clouds and eyes that gleamed like amber in the darkness. This wolf was always hungry and always clever, constantly thinking of new ways to catch an easy meal. Day after day, the wolf would hide at the edge of the forest, watching the flock of sheep graze on the hillside. The wolf licked his lips at the thought of a tasty sheep dinner. But there was one big problem. The shepherd never left the flock unattended, and a loyal sheepdog was always alert for any sign of danger. If only there was a way to get close to those sheep without being noticed, thought the wolf, scratching behind his ear. If only I could walk right into their midst without causing alarm. One evening, as the wolf was slinking back to his den after another day of unsuccessful hunting, he stumbled upon something unusual, a woolly sheepskin lying on the ground. Earlier that day, the shepherd had sheared one of the sheep whose wool had grown especially thick, and a piece of the fleece had blown away in the wind. The wolf's eyes widened with delight as a clever plan formed in his mind. With this, he thought, picking up the sheepskin carefully in his teeth, I can become one of them. Back in his den, the wolf worked through the night, fitting the sheepskin over his body until he looked remarkably like one of the fluffy sheep from the valley. He practiced walking with gentle steps instead of his usual prowl, and making soft bleating sounds instead of his fearsome howl. Perfect! He declared, admiring his disguise. Tomorrow I shall feast. The next morning, as the shepherd led the flock to pasture, the disguised wolf approached the group from behind a hill. Moving slowly and carefully, he blended in with the other sheep, his heart racing with excitement at how well his trick was working. None of the real sheep noticed anything unusual about their new companion. The wolf kept his head down, occasionally munching on grass to maintain his disguise, though he found the taste quite unpleasant compared to his usual meals. "This is working wonderfully," thought the wolf, eyeing a particularly plump sheep nearby. "I'll wait until nightfall when they're sleeping, and then I'll have my pick of the flock." All day long, the wolf maintained his deception. He stayed with the flock as they grazed across the meadow, as they drank from the cool stream, and as they rested in the shade of an old oak tree during the hottest part of the day. But as evening approached and the shepherd began to lead the flock back home, the wolf realized a flaw in his plan. If he followed the sheep into their pen for the night, he would be trapped. Yet if he tried to leave now, he might draw attention to himself. "I'll wait until the very last moment," decided the wolf, and then slept away while the shepherd is counting the sheep entering the pen. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, the shepherd guided the flock toward home. One by one, the sheep filed through the gate into their safe enclosure. The wolf held back, allowing other sheep to go ahead while he planned his escape. But the loyal sheepdog had been watching more carefully than the wolf realized. Something about one particular sheep had seemed odd all day. Its movements were different, and it never bleated quite right. Just as the wolf prepared to make his dash for freedom, the sheepdog bounded over, barking loudly and circling the disguised intruder. "What's this?" said the shepherd, hurrying over to investigate the commotion. In his panic, the wolf forgot to maintain his sheep-like behavior. He growled at the approaching sheepdog, and in that instant, his true identity was revealed. "A wolf!" cried the shepherd, quickly raising his staff. The wolf tried to flee, but the sheepskin that had served as his disguise now became his downfall. It was heavy and awkward, tangling around his legs as he tried to run. Before he could escape, the shepherd had cornered him. To the wolf's surprise, the shepherd didn't harm him. Instead, he bound the wolf with strong rope and said, "Tomorrow, I will take you deep into the forest, far from my flock, and release you. But remember this lesson: deception might work for a moment, but truth always finds its way to the surface." True to his word, the next day the shepherd took the wolf miles away and set him free. The wolf slunk away, hungry and humbled, having learned that shortcuts based on dishonesty lead to greater troubles in the end. Back in the valley, the shepherd shared the story with the other shepherds, warning them to be vigilant. And from that day forward, whenever someone in the village tried to deceive others by pretending to be something they were not, the older folks would nod knowingly and say, "Ah, a wolf in sheep's clothing." But remember, the truth always shows itself in the end. So what did we learn from our story today? When we try to trick others by pretending to be something we're not, we might succeed for a little while, but the truth has a way of coming out. Honesty may sometimes seem like the longer path, but it's always the surest and safest road to follow. Remember, little ones, it's better to be truly yourself than to wear a disguise that doesn't belong to you. Thank you for joining us for today's adventure. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might learn from it too. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more enchanting fables that will help you grow wise and kind. Sweet dreams, my dear listeners, and we'll see you next time for another magical journey. Good night.